What a ball game. Alabama down 17-0 early, goes on a run, 34 straight points to only 7 points for Oklahoma. Grit. My one-word reaction for this ball game today. I really can't believe how the turns tabled for this game today. Alabama comes back and they get away with a victory in Norman, Oklahoma, and they now advance to the quarterfinals in the 2025 college football playoffs. New Year's Day Rose Bowl matchup against the number 1 team in the country in the Indiana Hoosiers. We will be live for that game, by the way, so make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report, and we'll have our instant reaction and takeaways from this game tonight here on the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. What's going on, Alabama fans? Chris Daughtry here with you guys for our instant reaction for Alabama's 34-24 win versus the Oklahoma Sooners. First takeaway for me, this was a game of field position. You look early in this game today, like we talked about it during our build-up for this game today when we were live. You look back to that Georgia game. The average field position for Alabama inside their own 20. Average field position for Georgia in that game was around there about 35-yard line. This game started off the exact same way. Alabama, the first couple drives for them, they started off on their own 11, then they started off on their own 14. Oklahoma starting off early in this game at like the 35, the 40, and really it was a big key factor for this game. But then you get to that second quarter, you get to the third and fourth quarter, Alabama started winning the game of field position. You saw they finally got the ball at like their own 40. They got some help on a couple punts, by the way. There was that late hit on Cole Adams. Alabama got the ball at the 40-yard line. And then you had the really, really bad punt from Oklahoma, which that, by the way, Aiden, was the second announcer jinx, or really the first of the two. We'll get to the other one here in just a little bit. I was talking about, Oklahoma's punter coming in to this game today. I think he was first team all SEC in terms of punting. Well, they were backed up inside, kicking out of their own end zone, and Alabama gets the ball at the Oklahoma 35-yard line. Things really started to turn when Alabama didn't consistently have to drive the ball for, 85, 90 yards. That's when things really started to turn for the Crimson Tide tonight. So grade Alabama's performance versus Oklahoma. A, B, C, D, or F down at the pinned comment of today's video. Not the best performance in the world from Ty Simpson in this Alabama run game. Still, you had 25 carries for 28 yards tonight. So still, not the greatest performance, but you came away with a win. So let me know your grade for the Crimson Tide, A, B, C, D, or F. Takeaway number 2, man, how about Lotzeir Brooks, man? Didn't have a touchdown, coming into this game today. Ends up coming away with 2 massive touchdowns for Alabama. One was on 4th down. He got the first down, ended up, spinning and diving from the 3-yard line, diving into the end zone, getting the touchdown there. And then there was another one later in the second half of that game, 30-yard touchdown, I think it was, for Lotzeir Brooks there. Great throw by Ty Simpson as well, and great catch by Lotzeir Brooks. This guy really did come alive in this game today. And, shout out some of these other guys as well while we're talking about Lotzeir Brooks. Isaiah Horton, 5 catches for 65 yards for him. Didn't do a ton throughout the game, but really early on in this game, had some really big-time catches there for Isaiah Horton. And then, Josh Cuevas, kind of the same thing for him as well. 4 catches, 43 yards for him. A lot of action early in this game. Didn't get so much late in the game, though, but it's some big-time grabs. Same with Jeremy Bernard as well. Late in the game, Jeremy Bernard had that just insane catch going down to the 5-yard line. I think it was going up and over the Oklahoma defender. And I'll be honest, I didn't know if that was going to be a catch and or if it was going to be a catch, fumble, whatever it was. Either way, Alabama got the job done tonight, and they had a big-time performance there from Lotzeir Brooks. So shout out Lotzeir Brooks tonight. Was Alabama's leading receiver. 5 catches, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns. All right, we'll talk about some more instant reactions and takeaways here in just a second. But Go to chatsports.com/BamaSEC to get your Alabama gear today. Absolutely love the jacket that they got over there on the website right now. Got some college football playoff gear on the website as well. Got the CFP hat. I think they've got some shirts and hoodies as well, but I think the hoodies actually only have a couple sizes left. So go check it out and make sure you guys go get that today. Love the fact that they're bringing back the Block A. Whether you need whatever you need. If you just need a new Alabama polo, you can get that. Or, my family, not necessarily the, pajamas on Christmas Eve. But if you guys order today, you can get your gear before Christmas Day. So make sure you guys go to chatsports.com/BamaSEC. That link, by the way, going to be down at the pinned comment. Also going to be down at the description of today's show as well. Go to chatsports.com/BamaSEC to get your Alabama football gear today. All right, takeaway number 3, the defense came up massive for Alabama today. You look at the overall box score, man, Oklahoma had, 362 total yards today, but overall, you only gave up 55 yards on the ground. The fact that you lost the time of possession game in this game today and you still end up coming away with a 10-point victory, that is absolutely massive. And it's kind of comical when you look at some of these other stats here, 3rd down, 4th down. Alabama was only 2 for 12 today on 3rd down. Oklahoma was 7 for 17 on 3rd down, but you came away with a bunch of, massive sacks in this game. Keon Keeley coming up big. Kelby Collins had a sack in this game. Deontay Lawson, Justin Jefferson had a sack in this game. Yanze Pierre had a sack as well. London Simmons had a half a sack early on along with Yanze Pierre as well. You had the massive pick six by Zabien Brown to tie this ball game up. I believe that tied the ball game up, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it made it 10-17. Either way, that was a big-time momentum swing for this Alabama defense. Shout out Kane Womack, man. He brought so much pressure on John Mateer tonight. Did a lot of different types of stunts and everything like that. Is there anything I'm missing, Aiden, about the defense tonight? They played so dang good. They had so much pressure on John Mateer tonight. They did a really good job versus the run game, but really the really big time moment was when Zabien Brown had a second pick six of the season. That was really a massive momentum swing for this Alabama defense. Just trying to go back and make sure I'm not leaving anybody out. I think that was kind of it. Deontay Lawson had a really good game today as well. So shout out the defense, man. They played absolutely incredible. 7 TFLs as well for the Alabama defense tonight. What is your one-word reaction to Alabama's win versus Oklahoma tonight? Let me know what you guys think down inside the comments section of today's show. Takeaway number 4, special teams ended up really being a massive difference in this game tonight. There were a couple things that ended up happening. You had the punter for Oklahoma. That was the first announcer jinx that we had tonight. He caught the snap clean, then went to drop it on his foot, and it just slipped out of his hand. I don't really know what happened there. And Tim Keenan comes away, punt block, whatever you want to call it there. Either way, Alabama, that goes up to the game of field position as well. Alabama got the ball at their own 30, or at the Oklahoma 30-yard line on that drive. The fact that Oklahoma, the Lou Groza Award winner, Tate Sandell, misses his last 2 field goal opportunities was absolutely massive. Sure, the last one was from like 51, 52 yards, something like that. Came up short. That was crazy. He's absolutely got the leg. I don't know why it didn't necessarily get there. But then the one before that, whether or not you think it was wide left or not, they called it wide left. So it was massive. When you talk about punting, when you talk about the field goal unit, shout out Connor Talty as well, going 2 for 2 tonight with a 40-yard, nails down a 40-yard field goal here tonight. That was big. And I will say this too, early on in the game, Blake Dowd was not doing a good job, punting the ball at all. And look, at the end of the day, didn't end up being a big deal. But even you talk about the punting for Oklahoma, had the fumbled snap punt block, whatever you want to call it there. But then also later in the game, they were punting from their own end zone and just gets I don't know if it went off the end of his foot, what happened there. Either way, bounces at the Oklahoma 35-yard line, and I think it was Dejon Lee ended up scooping it up, and Alabama starts off at the Oklahoma 30 again. So, excuse me, going back to that game of field position, it was really big in terms of the swings in this game today, and special teams played a big part in this Alabama victory today. Takeaway number 5, just what a comeback. What a comeback, man. You were down, looked down and out, down 17-0 early in this game, and just the heart, the fight, the will to win for Alabama to be able to come back. You talk about big time moments in this game. It was that first touchdown drive for Alabama. I think they went, I know it was 75 yards. I don't really know how many plays. Let me see if I can find it here just real quick off the top of the dome, scrolling through. 8 plays, that was Oklahoma. 9 plays, 75 yards, and only 4 minutes on that first touchdown drive for Alabama. That was big. That was big. Oh, okay. And then Connor Talty kicked the field goal to make it 10-17, and then you have the interception on the following drive after that by Zabien Brown, and then you go second drive of the second half, 3 plays, 60 yards, that 30-yard touchdown pass to Lotzeir Brooks. You kick another 40-yard field goal there from Connor Talty. It was just an insane night overall here for Alabama. I'll be honest, there in the first quarter, I was pretty mad. I was pretty mad when you were down 10-0, then you were down 17-0. But shout out this team, man. Shout out Kalen DeBoer. The heart and the fight and the grit was absolutely there for this Alabama team tonight. And I think that this should shut down all of the rumors of Kalen DeBoer going to Michigan, because really the rumors, really the talking heads out there were saying that if Alabama lost this game tonight, maybe Kalen DeBoer would consider going to Michigan. I think at this point right now, Michigan's got to hire a head coach before the transfer portal opens. That's what they keep saying, which is kind of funny. The Alabama versus Indiana game is actually going to be on January 1st. Transfer portal doesn't actually open up until January 2nd. So they keep saying this game was the main reason, if Alabama lost, then Kalen DeBoer, might be in play there at Michigan. So it really doesn't, fit what they were saying there, because the transfer portal doesn't open up until January 2nd. They would still have another game, or at least another day right there until that ended up happening. But I do think this shuts those, rumors down for Kalen DeBoer to Michigan. Gets that get-back game finally against Oklahoma. Still down 1-2. Against Oklahoma, but man, this was a big time victory. Alabama going to the quarterfinals in the Rose Bowl against number 1 Indiana. Just incredible victory here for the Crimson Tide tonight.